Poštovani gledaoci, dobar dan. Vi gledate još jedno izdanje emisije Pola, sata, Demostata. Naš današnji gost je ambasador Bugarske u Republici Srbiji, gospodin Petko Dojkov. Your Excellency, good afternoon and welcome.
Thank you very much for the invitation. Very nice meeting you. Very nice being here with you.
Thank you for being a part of this show and our podcast. So let's start with the bilateral relations and army cooperation between Serbia and Bulgaria. What area of cooperation are you most proud of?
We have very active bilateral cooperation. When it comes to the field of defense, the cooperation between our two countries, Bulgaria and Serbia, is developing based on the friendly and good neighborly relations established between the armed forces of our two countries. The Bulgarian armed forces attach great importance to our close and pragmatic relations built on the basis of mutual interest. Bulgaria continues its support for Serbia's participation in PFP, the Partnership for Peace program. The cooperation between the air forces of the two countries has been fruitful through the recent years, highlighting the value of joint training and exercises. Military education is another priority area for our cooperation. Alongside with the bilateral military cooperation, our two countries, Bulgaria and Serbia, they are successfully partnering within regional defense initiatives, such as Southeastern Europe Defense Ministerial Process. We believe that joint efforts within the SEDEM process are a very good example of active regional dialogue and cooperation on defense and security issues. During the Bulgarian chairmanship of the SEDEM process, we did work for further enhancing the initiative and its practical dimensions. For us, this format is an important element in maintaining our common security in the region.
So a lot of plans for our countries' cooperation in this year as well.
Yes, as immediate and close neighbors, Bulgaria and Serbia have always pursued an honest bilateral dialogue, focused on fields of joint interest such as trade, connectivity, etc. Now, even more than ever, the dynamic geopolitical context requires us to foster further our partnership. Bulgaria's intention is to achieve this by initiating an open discussion with our Serbian friends in the coming months on how to improve further our relations in order to maximize the gains. I'm confident that there are many opportunities ahead of us which need to be explored. Whether it comes transborder cooperation, people-to-people contacts, or transfer of know-how, we in Bulgaria, we are ready to share our success stories with you for the benefit of the whole region.
You're an ambassador from a NATO ally. How do you see NATO today? What do you think is the added value of NATO in the current geopolitical context? You also mentioned the geopolitical context in the region.
Nowadays, NATO remains a key player in global security, adapting to the new geopolitical realities while still holding onto its core principles of collective defense. The core mission of NATO of collective defense is more pertinent than ever. The strength of the alliance lies in its ability to deter large-scale aggression, especially from Russia and other state actors. At the same time, NATO has broadened its focus to address non-traditional security threats such as cyber attacks, disinformation campaigns, and others. The ability of NATO to engage in crisis management is another vital aspect of its relevance today. NATO continues to focus on supporting stability in vulnerable regions, including through partnerships with non-member countries and other international organizations. The latter provides for enhanced NATO ability to project power and influence, while fostering a rule-based international order. The relationship between NATO and the European Union has become more important. The strengthened dialogue and cooperation with the partners in the Indo-Pacific region and the South is also very high on the agenda of NATO. The alliance is working as well on modernizing its defense posture to address emerging technologies such as artificial intelligence, for example. To sum it up, the added value of NATO today is multifaceted. It serves as a deterrent against major military aggression, facilitates collective defense and stability, strengthens international partnerships, and adapts to emerging threats. While there are certainly challenges, such as internal disagreements and evolving global power dynamics, NATO remains an essential pillar of Western security and global stability, and the role of NATO in addressing the 21st century threats is ever expanding.
Your Excellency, here in Serbia, but not only in Serbia, the perception of NATO is that it's a purely military organization. This is also due to the heavy legacy of the past we are facing with here. However, we know that NATO is also a political organization. Could you elaborate on this for our audience?
Right. It is a very common perception that NATO is solely a military alliance, especially given its foundational purpose in ensuring collective defense. Myself, I had the same perception before joining our delegation to NATO years ago. However, the role of NATO as a political organization is just as important, and over time, this political dimension has become more prominent, particularly in the modern security landscape. One of the key political roles of NATO is the promotion of democracy, the rule of law, and human rights amongst its members and partners. The commitment of NATO to these values is enshrined in its founding treaty, and this political orientation is evident in how the alliance operates. Through diplomacy and political efforts, the alliance works to prevent conflicts before they escalate into full-blown crises. NATO's political cohesion is key to its success. It operates on the principle that an attack on one is an attack on all, and its political unity is vital to maintaining the credibility of this commitment. So, while NATO's military capabilities are often the first thing people think of, the political role of the alliance is just as essential in today's interconnected and complex world. Its political dimension ensures that NATO is not just a tool for warfighting, but also a key actor in diplomacy, in conflict resolution, and in the promotion of shared values like democracy, security, and human rights. In a world where security threats are increasingly hybrid and multifaceted, the ability of NATO to act politically is crucial in addressing global challenges.
In the light of what you just said, how important do you think it is the political dialogue among the allies, but also between the allies and the partnering countries?
The political dialogue among NATO allies and between NATO and the partner countries is absolutely crucial. It plays an essential role in ensuring the effectiveness, the cohesion, and the flexibility of the alliance. This dialogue is not just about resolving the disputes or ensuring alignment on military operations. It is a vital component of how NATO adapts to the rapidly changing world. Without continuous political dialogue, there is a risk of divisions or misunderstandings that could undermine the alliance's unity, especially in times of crisis. The decision-making process in NATO is based on consensus, meaning that all NATO nations must agree on the major decisions. This requires frequent and transparent communication to ensure that each nation's interests, security concerns, and strategic priorities are understood and considered. Regular political dialogue strengthens NATO's solidarity and ensures that the alliance can act as a unified force when it matters most. Without this dialogue, it would be much harder to reach consensus on critical issues like defense spending, military deployments, or responses to global threats. NATO's partnerships with non-member countries, whether in the context of PFP or other cooperation frameworks, are just as important as the relationships between the allies. Through political dialogue with these partner countries, NATO helps foster greater security cooperation, build military interoperability, and promote shared values like democracy and the rule of law. In short, the political dialogue within NATO and with its partners is absolutely essential for ensuring the alliance remains united, adaptive, and capable of addressing both traditional and emerging threats.
Speaking of that, and about partnership, what are your views on NATO's partnership with Serbia? How do you see it evolving throughout time?
The partnership between NATO and Serbia is one of the more complex and delicate relationships within the broader context of the alliance's outreach and engagement with non-member states. Despite the tensions from the past, the 21st century has seen a gradual shift in NATO-Serbian relations. Looking ahead, pragmatic cooperation in certain areas like city, counterterrorism, defense reform, and regional security will likely continue to grow, albeit within the framework of Serbia's political neutrality. NATO will likely remain a crucial partner in the context of Serbia's broader European integration. Serbia's NATO cooperation may be seen as a way of demonstrating its commitment to regional stability and to aligning with Western standards, even if NATO membership is not on the table. The direction of NATO-Serbia relations will depend on how Serbia's political leadership navigates its domestic and foreign policy challenges. Public opinion in Serbia is still largely skeptical of NATO, particularly because of the lingering bitterness over the Kosovo conflict. However, as the security environment evolves and Serbia faces new challenges such as cyber threats and regional instability, political leaders may find that deeper cooperation with NATO is increasingly in Serbia's best interests. Given the evolving nature of global security challenges, the dialogue between NATO and Serbia will remain important in shaping regional stability in the Balkans.
This is in the field of advantages of this partnership between Serbia and NATO. So, in your opinion, what are the main advantages for both NATO and Serbia of this partnership?
The partnership between NATO and Serbia offers several important advantages for both sides, despite the complex historical and geopolitical dynamics at play. This cooperation is rooted in the recognition that there are shared security interests and regional stability concerns, even if full NATO membership for Serbia remains off the table for now. One of the primary benefits for Serbia is the opportunity to modernize its defense and security sector. Serbia's engagement in NATO programs, such as the Partnership for Peace or the Individual Partnership Action Plan, helps improve its expertise in military planning, in crisis management, and in defense reform, as well as helps improve the country's military capabilities in addressing modern security challenges, such as terrorism, cyber, and hybrid threats. Many of Serbia's European Union accession processes are interconnected with its relationship with NATO, as the EU, the European Union, often views NATO cooperation as an important aspect of regional stability. Last but not least, engaging with NATO allows Serbia to diversify its foreign policy and security relationships, which can be crucial for a small country navigating a complex geopolitical landscape. On the other hand, the stability of the Western Balkans is a key interest for NATO, given its proximity to the alliance's core members in Europe. The engagement of Serbia with NATO helps ensure that the region remains peaceful and stable, reducing the likelihood of future conflicts or instability that could spill over into Europe. By maintaining a partnership with Serbia, NATO ensures ability to monitor and respond to security threats in the Balkans and beyond, especially as global security challenges evolve. The involvement of Serbia in NATO frameworks facilitates dialogue and trust building. For example, NATO's engagement in Serbia can play a positive role in improving relations with Kosovo and other countries in the region, supporting diplomatic efforts to address long-standing issues like territorial disputes and minority rights. By working with Serbia, NATO can ensure that its values, such as democratic governance, rule of law, and human rights, are promoted in the region, even without direct membership. This is crucial for maintaining a rules-based international order in Europe and preventing the erosion of democratic norms in countries that may be tempted by alternative influences. In essence, the continued development of this relationship could be key in ensuring long-term stability in the Western Balkans and in fostering a more secure and cooperative environment in Europe.
Thank you for this explanation. And let's look at the broader regional context. How do you assess the evolution that the Western Balkans countries underwent since the late 1990s, and what future has to offer us?
Well, we recently came across a quite intriguing summary by a young Bulgarian economist, Ivan Lutskamov, whose findings, based on updated data from the World Bank, speak for themselves. According to his analysis, Bulgaria's GDP per capita in constant purchasing power parity, PPP, in US dollars has increased by 2.6 times during the past 23 years, between the year 2000 and 2023. On the other hand, Serbia's GDP per capita in constant PPP in US dollars has risen by 2.3 times for the same period, while the numbers related to North Macedonia have almost doubled, to be precise by 1.9 times. This is to say two things. Firstly, our economies grow despite the massive brain drain, the relatively poor connectivity and the shrinking demographics. And secondly, the more open and better integrated a given economy is with its trade partners, the faster this economy grows. And here, the EU membership plays a key role. The process of accession negotiations creates the necessary conditions for the evolution of rule-based societies where knowledge is highly valued and hard work is rewarded. Supportive of the above is the fact that Bulgaria has become an attractive place both for Bulgarians and foreigners to live and to work. While in 2023, almost 12,000 Bulgarians decided to live abroad. Over 17,000 of our citizens chose the opposite and permanently returned home, which is a good news. Similarly positive is the statistics when it comes to the EU citizens. Just 682 EU citizens left our country in 2023, while almost 7,600 appreciated the opportunities that Bulgaria provides to them. In this context, I cannot stress out enough how important for our country's future is the overall stability of the region. Thereof, Bulgaria is a strong and vocal advocate for the EU integration of all Western Balkans countries, based on the established criteria and conditionality and the importance of strengthening the good neighborly relations.
You were talking about brain drain and the youth, so that's a wonderful point to conclude this episode. Do you have any message for the young population of Serbia, but also for the youth of the Western Balkans?
If I have to summarize in one word, all I want to say to the young Serbs, but also to all youngsters in the Western Balkans, this would be explore. Explore yourselves, explore your countries, explore new horizons, because the more curious you are, the more successfully you will navigate through the challenges that may arise ahead of your future endeavors.
Mr. Ambassador, thank you. Poštovani gledalci i slušalci Pola, sata, Demostata, bio je ovo ambasador Bugarske u Republici Srbiji, gospodin Petko Dojkov. Do sledećeg gledanja i slušanja ne zaboravite da se pretplatite na naš kanal na YouTube-u, ali i da nas zapratite na svim društvenim mrežama. Moje ime je Tamara Bajčić, doviđenja i prijatno.